Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of the NFL Players Second Acts podcast. I'm Peanut Tillman, and I got my guy with me, my right-hand man, Roman Senor Harper! Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. What's up?
You know, I was just about to accuse you, Peanut, of not bringing the energy this morning, but I was completely just way ahead of myself right there. Let me bring it back. Thank you for that introduction. I don't know where that comes from, but I'm just here to say thank you for it. I appreciate it. I also want to thank all the listeners out there for tuning in consistently and appreciate you, and I want to ask you personally, Peanut does too, continue to spread the word and to give us a rating, a review, and don't forget to hit that follow button on Apple Podcasts, the iHeartRadio app, or anywhere else you listen to your podcast. So continue to follow us. We're continuing to pump more and more episodes out there. And today, I promise you, will not let you down with our guest today.
So I bring that energy because I had some lines, man, some mushrooms, man. It got me in the mood. I was feeling charged and ready to go. So today, y'all, we got a special guest. This gentleman played 10 years in the NFL. Made a Pro Bowl in 2005, got drafted by the Cardinals, played in Denver for a while. Now, after playing after in the NFL, now he is a mushroom farmer. So y'all show some love for Jake the Snake Plummer. And like Rome said, I'm feeling the hair, man. I went by your website and everyone got long hair. I feel like to grow mushrooms, man, like everyone's got the long hair. I'm feeling it.
You know, the long hair for me right now is just, it got to a point where it stopped being annoying and now it's long hair and it's just, I got long hair now. So it might be gone this summer when it gets hot, but for now, that's what it is. And, I don't think it has anything to do with the mushrooms, but, shiitake mushrooms do help with, your hair and nails, help promote like hair and nail growth. So, one little fun fact about fungi you might not know.
So what made you get into the whole so I know you retired. What made you get into the whole mushroom thing? I know Calvin Johnson has the marijuana and everything. What made you get into mushrooms?
Yeah, it's been a long journey to get to here, and there was no, setting out to be a mushroom farmer, or even I didn't really know that I would be getting into doing this until just before the pandemic. I had a lunch meeting with my business partner Dale Jolly, who's a partner of mine that helped start Umbo, and actually that's when he introduced me to Rashad Evans, former UFC Hall of Famer, who's also a co-founder of Umbo. And has used, in his last fight when he came out of retirement, he used the products when he was training. And, being an older guy training with these young kids, he had the energy. He was actually bringing it like you did, Peanut. Like he was bringing the energy to the workouts. And the guys were like, what are you doing? And he was recovering. And then he went and fought and he won. And he was so calm and peaceful in the ring. And it was something that, when I met him, we started this idea. We started taking some tinctures that my buddy Dale gave us, and we felt the benefits. We felt our immune system. We felt like this virus going around. We were okay because we were taking the right stuff. My energy levels were good. My sleep got better. I didn't have my allergies in the springtime, and so I was a believer. And the dive into this started, my buddy Dale actually is when I met him is in Charlotte's Web, when I was working with Charlotte's Web and the hemp oil. And as you guys probably remember or know, like 8 years ago, I was trying along with some other guys to try to get this into the hands of the players through the NFLPA and whatnot. And it was federally listed as a Schedule I drug, the same as heroin, cocaine, and that's hemp we're talking about, just one plant that got confused with marijuana. And now we see hemp. A lot of guys are having their own brands and endorsing it and getting behind it because they felt the benefits of this plant of nature. And so that got me into this like path of bringing a different mode of healing or something that may help just take the edge off of your pain, or even take a little bit off of, the fogginess in your brain or whatever it was. And so then getting into this mushroom business, we're talking about, mushrooms have their own kingdom. I call it a queendom because I think, they just are like the mother. They're underneath the ground, the mycelial network, the the way they help share everything underneath the ground with plants, the way everything filters through them, and the future holds a lot of things are going to start changing once people learn a little more about mushrooms. Like, oh, psilocybin, I don't want to trip out. I don't want to go on a journey and have like hallucinations. Well, that's just one mushroom in the whole entire queendom. So again, it's a chance to educate, but also a chance to just kind of live it. I take the mushrooms every day. I got the farm that's just like another opportunity came through my buddy Dale to go start growing them. And, as a former player going through transition, it's never over the transition because we're always linking back to like this next week, going to the Super Bowl, going down to be amongst the players. You go right back to who you were when you were that, whether it's your alter ego or whatever it is, you go back to that guy. And, this has given me a chance to really grow and feel what it's like to grow things and put intention into these beautiful organisms to help people, hopefully optimize their health and wellness. And it's been a fun journey, and I can't wait to continue to spread this word. And thank you for being interested.
I'm excited because I just bought four of your, I guess,
Tinctures.
I apologize for the background. I'm getting some work done on my house, but I bought four of, you got a 4-piece. I bought the 4-piece, and I'm looking forward to sleeping, feeling, working, just getting swole. I'm looking forward to all of it. My goal right now is 315 on the bench, so hopefully these mushrooms can get me up and going at it again. You know what I'm saying?
Who knows? Maybe they will. If you put that intention into them, they're pretty amazing. Maybe they'll help you get there.
All right. So Jake, I want to talk about this transition a little bit for you. You were 32 years old when you retired, and kind of take me back through, because we all have our different journeys and stories of when we put the ball down and when we take our pads off. What do we do next, or how do we continue to strive and be great in the lane that you were in for so long, and now you step away? You're 32 years old. Could you maybe take me into that first year of after you retired? What were you doing? I know and I've listened to some of your podcast places or interviews that you've done. You did a lot of handballing around the country. You're still trying to stay active, and you also like to read a lot in the morning. I think you like to read about just new things. What you described that you said you like to read about.
Yeah, the transition was interesting. As I played the 4 straight years at ASU, got drafted to the Cardinals, and started halfway through my rookie year. So there was really basically 14 straight years of high level football. Yeah. And, my body was really taking a beating. I was up to about 212 pounds. You got to get bigger. And it was a constant grind to just be that person. And I loved it. I loved being the quarterback of the team and relating to all my teammates and the players and the whole organization. But there was a lot of stress there. There was a lot of expectations that were hard to basically unable to fulfill all the expectations that were heaped upon me. So that took a toll mentally and spiritually, like just being able to like feel good about myself and who I am. As a lot of guys leave the league, they feel like they leave in failure, even though they played 9 years, but they're cut their last camp, and they leave with a bad taste in their mouth, and they don't remember like those 9 years where you were in it and doing it.
That's a great point. Such a great point.
Preach on it, Jay. Preach on it.
Yeah. One of the few people in the world that do what we do. And at one point in my life, I was one of the, probably top 15 quarterbacks in the entire world. Yeah. In the entire world. And so when you can go look back at that in your transition, as it's hard as hell to go through a transition when we have everything done for us, we know where we're going to be in April, we know what we're going to be doing November 15th. We got our schedule, and you get back into life. If you don't plan for that, which I know there's some things out there to help guys plan, but a lot of guys, you got to be in it in the NFL. You can't think about, in 4 years I might retire and get into being a gardener or a mushroom farmer. You don't put any extra time thinking down the line because you have to be so in it during that time and present. So when I retired, it was a chance for me to just get away. I moved up to North Idaho. I got out of the crowd. I got away so I could just be another human for a little bit, see what it felt like to go to a grocery store and not get noticed, not have people stopping me everywhere I went. And that was nice. It was really good. And then, I got married soon after I retired, traveled a lot, which was a lot of fun. And I did play a lot of handball. Handball was camaraderie, a good chance to get out and compete and run around. I'm still playing handball. I got a match tonight. And, that's one of the things that keeps me moving. You guys know our bodies are beat up and we can buy into that narrative. And that's another thing that's so beautiful about the mushrooms is I think it's for longevity for me. It's for cleaning myself up now, but also planning to live a long time and live healthy and be active.
They want me to talk to you about your mushroom company, Myco Love, right? And I think it's beautiful. And they want to try and ask, why do you sell these things or this, that, and other? Instead, I'm going to piggyback and try and help sell it yourself. And I want you to tell me which one you think I should look at. So for me, I look at the turkey tail tincture. All right. And the turkey tail tincture is described as this. It's really the attribute of it that I love is, number one, that they say it grows on evergreen trees and therefore must have the staying power of the trees. And I know this from looking at YouTube on all my other crazy things I do, all right, that Japan has the longest living lifespan of any country in the world. It's not a big deal for Japanese people to live in their upper 80s to 100 plus years old. That's like normal to them, which is not normal here in the USA. Also, the reishi tincture, it's native to North America, so USA. We're doing everything. Yes. Everything benefits everybody. Also, the reishi helps assist the P53 checkpoint. All right. For those that don't know what that means, that's the gene inspects. That's where the gene inspect and the act to destroy abnormal cells. All right. So when abnormal cells start to happen, that's when cancer starts to creep in. Jake the Snake, please, baby, continue to sell me more on which one I should use. Either the reishi or the turkey tail. I'm thinking turkey tail myself.
Buy all three. Buy all four. That's what I did. Get the
there it is, Peanut. You got it, baby.
Buy the four. Take them all. It's all gonna help you. 315. Here I come. Let's go.
Now you made some great points. Great to bring up turkey tail and reishi, two amazing mushrooms that we grow out at Myco Love at the farm. The great thing is being able to grow these and extract them. And then here soon to be able to put them in the Umbo bottles, which is Umbo is the company that, we started this whole thing with, and we're doing tinctures and some really good bars. We're going to be down handing them out to anybody, all the legends and everybody, to get them a taste of a bar with 2.5 grams of functional mushrooms in them. And again, answering the question, can I eat this and go to work? Will this trip me out? And like, of course you can. I'm not peddling bars with psilocybin in them at the Super Bowl. Like, you think I want to go to prison? No, I'm it's still Schedule 1. It's still listed, same as cocaine and heroin, the psilocybin mushroom. Now, turkey tail is a great mushroom. It's prescribed in Japan for cancer patients. And another thing that turkey tail does that's amazing is it's been known to go in and protect your cells surrounding the cancer cells. So when you get a dose of radiation or chemo, the chemo goes and attacks the cancerous cells and everything around it, right? Well, if you have the turkey tail in your system, what they're seeing signs of is that the turkey tail protects those other cells that are not cancerous. So you're not killing off, all these good cells in your body. And so they're having really good results with cancer patients coming out of chemo, enough to perk your ears up and go, wait a sec, let's see why this is happening in another country. You mentioned reishi. Reishi is my favorite mushroom. It's definitely one that you call a mushroom of immortality. And when you bring up the P53 pathway, that's deep knowledge right there that people don't even know about their bodies. Sort of like when we discovered the endocannabinoid system in our bodies in 1997 to realize that we have receptors for CBD, the cannabinoids that are in hemp. And so these are things that we're just starting to find out, even researching the brain and finding out more about neuroplasticity. And that's another mushroom, lion's mane, that gets me real excited because there's so many compounds in these mushrooms. For instance, to back up, reishi, they're seeing that there may be like 500 different compounds in a reishi mushroom. And so we don't know but a few of them, just like cannabis that we started out calling it CBD. Well, now there's CBQ, CBR, CB, all this stuff because we've gone in and explored this plant. That's what needs to happen with these mushrooms. And that's the exciting part. Back to lion's mane. Lion's mane helps with nerve growth factor. So, neuronal pathways that are damaged or severed. Lion's mane is showing support in helping regrow neuronal pathways throughout our whole body. Lion's mane is really an amazing mushroom, along with turkey tail reishi. Another one that we don't talk about much and that's been known for a long time is cordyceps. And cordyceps is a vasodilator. It helps bring oxygen to your blood. When you guys go work out, Peanut, when you're trying to bench 315 and you start to go, your body naturally sends out an ATP boost, adenosine triphosphate boost to your muscles to say, hey, let's go. It's go time. Cordyceps actually naturally will enhance that process so that it happens effortlessly, and there's no crash, there's no down, there's no sugars, there's no anything that to give you that natural energy that cordyceps provides. The whole world is going to be soon to be, they're turning to it already as Western culture and our Western medicine keeps doing the same thing. People are looking for other alternatives. And I got to say that just taking the tinctures isn't the reason why I feel good and have energy throughout the day and feel like I've slowed down my aging process. I've added a lot of other things to that, along with the, good diet, watching what I drink, watching how I speak, watching the people that I'm around, just changing my whole entire, the way I flow. And I do a lot of yoga. I try to stay active and move. And so, sometimes you get out of the game and you start feeling the pain that can set in, and it's debilitating, and it keeps you sedentary. You don't want to move, and you don't feel like going out to see your buddies, and these things seem to have been able to allow me that freedom. The inflammation in my joints is gone. I feel like I have to share this. I got to let everybody know, because I know we're all going through whatever we're going through. We all have life happening, and to have life happening along with old injuries or the thought of what could be down the road from, I've had, I know personally I've had probably at least 4 to 5 concussions where I was knocked out. Other times banged my head numerous times. But there are guys that have had 15, 20, 30, hundreds of concussions or mild traumatic brain injuries. And the narrative is set, and it's a scary thing, that future that we look forward to, like CTE, dementia, Alzheimer's. Like, my goal is to try to reverse that narrative, to start doing some studies with some former players to raise quality of life using functional mushrooms. And also, I am a believer in psychedelic psilocybin mushrooms as a form of healing, also at a whole nother level of in ceremony, as a sacred medicine for approaching some things that may be looming from your childhood, or something that you may have gone through as a trauma that you didn't even realize had a traumatic imprint on your system, and you just shoved it away. What do we do? What did you do, Peanut, when you got hurt on a tackle? Could you go take a break? And no, you pushed that pain away, right? You depressed it. We get real good as NFL players, just, I feel sad today. Too bad. Push it down. I got to practice. I got to be the leader. I got to be.
We're great in compartmentalizing. That's just what you're taught to do.
Exactly. And so, opening up to those and coming face to face with some of those things, that whether you want to label it they're demons or traumas or whatever it is, coming face to face with that and addressing it, and maybe even just becoming friends with it and telling it you don't need it anymore, or whatever happens. I believe that, we can help shift the narrative of what former players or anybody who's had a lot of, traumatic brain injuries or mild traumatic brain injuries, to not look forward or not look at the future as though gloom of what could be. But let's start doing this so we can study. Let's start studying and trying to reverse the effects that we caused on our bodies playing this wonderful game. Let's really be progressive on this and look long term at the health and wellness of these players. And then once we do that, people start to listen. The general public looks up to us. So we have to be real careful, what we get behind. And I'm 100% behind this, to, again, as a gift, being connected with some great people, as a gift to share this to people. And it's really exciting. And there is so many fungi and mushrooms in the world we don't even still know. Like, they're finding them now and coming back and naming a new one almost every day. And then We haven't even taken little pieces of it to microdose it or see if maybe there's some mushroom out there that could cure glaucoma, or who knows. Like, I think the sky's the limit here, and it's really exciting time to be behind a movement like this.
Yeah, and Peanut, this is my last little one, because my wife, I said it before, my wife she's been microdosing. And Jake, you don't know this, but my wife's Native American. So she's all about going the psychedelic route to really get rid of and fight those demons or things that we've all suppressed at some point in time. She's she takes lion's mane every morning. I didn't even know that till this morning when I was so excited about having you on. I'm like, what? You take lion's mane? She's like, yes, for the neuron repair and all this other thing. She's like, and for all those those women out there that are listening, she accuses me all the time of not respecting her mom brain, right? Where she's had a couple kids. Sometimes she doesn't always remember certain things. And then her opinion is this helps her fight that or go against those things. And can you continue to help her heal those things that she's been through? So right on again, Jake Plummer. Right on again,
yes,
baby.
Man.
I'm just
cognitive
right here with
support,
you,
man.
Yes, and she's
Lion's
always
good.
Her question that she's making me ask this is that how do we know how do you know what's a reputable source of where we get our mushrooms from versus what may not be a more reputable source? To make sure it's all good, right? Like, I don't know if every mushroom is created equal.
And Umbo, we set out to have one of the best products. Like, I was Charlotte's Web. It's one of the top line products. I wanted to be able to have the same thing in the mushroom industry. There are other good products out there. Be sure to look at the labels to see if it's organic, and also if it's fruiting body or if it's mycelium. It's like, once you dive into the underworld of mycelium, it'll blow your mind of what's happening down there, what's being shared down there through all the trees and all the plants. It's a beautiful thing that we hopefully can duplicate up here as humans, to share with each other, to help each other.
You sure you didn't study biology when you were in college? Like, you sound like a biology major right now.
No, man. Like, this is the thing. Like, I've just been in this for the last few years, just absorbing knowledge and being around people and learning stuff. But I don't know, like, 1/10 of what Paul Stamets knows. I'd say 1/50 of what Paul Stamets knows. He is a mycologist. I'm a mycophile. I love mushrooms. I love fungi. I love nature. And so I think, without mycelium, without fungi, that we wouldn't have anything that we're used to having out in nature. The trees, the beautiful flowers, everybody benefits from the mycelium underneath us. Yet the jury is still out if eating and taking a mycelium product is actually beneficial to us yet, because we're finding that some mushrooms have compounds in the fruiting body and that are not contained in the mycelium, or vice versa. That's in the mycelium, but it doesn't come out in the fruiting body. So for now, what I like to say is, if you went to an apple tree, you wouldn't pull off a leaf or some bark and eat it and hope to get some benefit. You would pick the apple and you would eat the apple. So now, as we're going again back to the research thing, we need to research this. We need to find out if mycelium grown on grain is passing on some of the constituents of the grain into the mycelium. So if you're grain heavy in your diet already, do you really want to take more grain into your system? I'm a fruiting body fan. I like full spectrum medicine. I want the whole entire fruiting body all together in my tincture, bar, capsule, whatever. That's my theory. And we're going to learn more. We're going to learn more every day. They're discovering stuff every day. I really want to lead into this, this next era, some studies with some former players to raise quality of life, and then ultimately to see if we can reverse, the issues with the brain that we're all aware of, that we're going to face at some point. But trying to extend life, and to extend life with quality of life, is really the key. And if you guys are around when I turn 90, I'll invite you to my party at a trampoline park. I mean, that's my vision. I don't want to be.
There we go. Let's get it. Let's get it. That's what I'm talking about. Energy all day. Energy all day.
Yeah, man. Like, why not? I mean, Roman, you mentioned Japan. I mean, they have the most, the most percentage of their population in the world that lives to be over 100. What are they doing?
Yeah, they do,
right?
bro. It's crazy.
Yeah, let's change that here. Let's give people the opportunity to think about that, and not. It's funny. I've said that before. Like, I want to live well into my hundreds. Oh man, you don't want to do that. You'll be in a wheelchair. You'll be all decrepit. And I'll tell people, man, shut your mouth and take that back. You put that energy, you put that word out there. Words have extreme power, as we know, being on, hey, it's the fourth quarter. We got a minute left, no timeouts. Let's go win this thing, right? And we all believe and we go win it, rather than, oh God, there's no chance. We need a time. Well, this isn't going well. Like, we believe in the power of words because we lived it. And more people, start buying into just that power of word, the power of thought, and then the power of nature. We're coming into a full new perspective here on really how much we can optimize our human time here on planet Earth.
Thanks for the answer there, Jake. And as my man Peanut Tillman always like to say, we got to pay some bills. And before we do that, we would like to honor Black History Month. In each episode this month, we'll highlight an NFL trailblazer, both past and present, in a 60-second tribute. Here's Jets defensive end Solomon Thomas telling the story of the first Black woman to be named a team president in NFL history. The Raiders' Sandra Douglas Morgan.
I'm proud to introduce to you today the president of the Las Vegas Raiders, Sandra Douglas Morgan.
On July 7, 2022, Sandra Douglas Morgan made league history when the Raiders named her the NFL's first ever Black female president. As we continue to celebrate Black History Month across the league, we share the accomplishments of the past and present. Sandra Douglas Morgan is the first African-American woman to be the president of an NFL team. Born and raised in Las Vegas, Morgan was a daughter of parents who instilled in her the importance of education, honesty, kindness, and hard work. She would go on to earn degrees in political science from the University of Nevada in Reno and law from the University of Nevada in Las Vegas. Described by Raiders owner Mark Davis as a force to be reckoned with, Douglas is a trailblazer and an inspiration for current African-American women and future generations to come.
All right, Jake, we like to do this thing with all of our guests. These couple little quick hitters. You just tell us first thing come on your brain. This is fast, this is furious, and we're coming at you right now. You ready?
All right.
All right, who cares if you're ready or not? It's coming anyways. What was your first welcome to the NFL moment?
Oh, man. Veteran Stadium on the 2-yard line. The coaches decided to put me into the game for my first live NFL action. And I stepped into the huddle and looked at the guys and said, let's take this, 98 yards. And they lit up like, huh? And we took it 98 yards and scored. And that was really my first, welcome to NFL moment when they believed in me. And once that happened, that belief was strong. And, that's really all I wanted was that belief and respect from the guys. So that was my first, here I am. And in that game, Richard Dent was still playing. He was with the Eagles. He spun me around and slammed me into the turf on my left shoulder that still kind of has a little limitations from that hit. Said, take that, rookie. A few other words involved. And I just jumped up and said, man, you're too old to be playing. Get your old ass out of the league. Because I had to give it back, man. That was the way I had to fight. I had to show him that I wasn't scared, even though I was like, oh, my God, Richard Dent. But I had to show him, there's no fear here. You can't stop me. You can't break me. And, yeah, that was a real good moment. In Philly, no less. A great place to come play games. I love playing in Philly. The fans there are amazing.
Jake, who intercepted your last pass?
Oh, I don't remember because my last throw was an interception, actually, against the Niners. I'd have to look back and see who that was.
You got all that right. It was against the Niners. It was Walt Harris, final game, 2006 season.
All right. You know what's crazy is I threw 161 interceptions in my career and 161 touchdowns. So I figure I came out straight.
Even Steven, you're rocking 16 all across the board too, bro. I love it.
Yeah, all right.
Call. My quick hitter is this. So number one, who's the best handball player in your family? And also, I know how much of a family man you are and you love the outdoors so much. I've heard in the other interview. you created dandelion fritters from your outside one time. I want to know, bro,
Yeah.
you got to bring some of those to AZ. I got to try those. Those sound awesome.
Yeah, they are good. And, most people spray a bunch of crazy chemicals on their yard to kill dandelions. And, we wonder why we're sick. And I just tell people, well, my dandelions get turned into fritters. And you can actually just pick a dandelion and eat it, and there's no harm there, depending on obviously where it's grown and make sure, my yard doesn't have any chemicals in it. I keep it clean and organic. But yeah, the organic or the dandelion fritters are awesome. During the pandemic, it was something that me and the family got into, was just going out and finding stuff in nature that we call weeds. Again, we call weed, marijuana, cannabis weed, yet it has a lot of medicinal benefits. Going out and just finding, different things in our yard, like mallow. Mallow was the original plant that they used to actually make marshmallows. Marshmallows. And so we ended up making some mallow out of a natural little plant that grew out in our yard. And usually you pull them and compost them. But doing that felt really awesome to go out, forage for mushrooms, find some wild asparagus, do some dandelion fritters, and basically eat a meal that was just provided by nature. It did something inside my DNA and my body. It felt different to eat like that. And I don't do it all the time, but I'm out foraging still and trying to find more edible things out in the forest to be a part of and to ingest, of course. There was a first part of that question I'm forgetting you asked.
The handball.
Oh, yeah. My brother Eric is by far the best handball player in our family. He was a collegiate player. He got into the Elite Eight and the Collegiate Nationals, and really good athlete, great athlete all around. And he's one of the best. Love playing with him. Even though my other brother, he's pretty damn good too. And my dad, was a state champ in Idaho and Washington. So he's the one who got us all started on that, and also getting us up into the mountains in Idaho. So my dad introduced a lot of good stuff to us.
All right, last question for you here, Jake. Mount Rushmore, we ask everyone this question, right? You have to have your own personal Mount Rushmore. Who would you have up there?
It's four.
And in sport, is it sports or just people
in life? Just period, people.
Oh,
it could
wow.
Be sports, it could be mom, dad, it could be Jesus, it could be a mushroom god, it could be but you only get four though.
Yeah, that's a hard question. Holy smokes. Okay, let me tap into thinking about that real quick. Four people that I think, that I would put on Mount Rushmore. Man, I put Bob Marley on Rushmore. I think that's a definite. The effect he's had in the world.
That is a great one. Okay.
I mean, his music is still alive. His children are still passing on his message, and what his message was one love. And I think we, not to just take an easy one there, but I still love popping on Bob Marley and listening to him, and his influence is so strong and will last a long time. I would say Muhammad Ali, because of what he did to fight for his human rights, for civil rights, to stand up and be himself, and really to be one of the most authentic, genuine, one-of-a-kind athletes that we've ever seen in the world. And really be known all around the world. What an amazing human he was. Man, let me go with I'm going to say
two more.
Albert Hoffman, who was the guy who discovered LSD, and a guy who way back in the early 1900s or mid 1900s was on what we're going through right now on investigating the effects psychedelics can have on people and reprogramming, rebooting us back to being one again and connecting again and being okay with the beauty surrounding us instead of ignoring what's around us. Being back in touch with nature, back in touch with the community and with connections and humans again. Now my fourth one, I'm going to put my mom on Mount Rushmore because, without her, I wouldn't be here. And I've learned so much from her. And she really started me down this path as young kids. She was very into our diets and taught us to be really aware of what we put in our bodies. And, we would take garlic and honey if we had a cold, and we would put brewer's yeast in our orange juice. And she was way ahead of what's going on now, just because her mother, my grandma, was a vegetarian and really into health and doing the right thing and into nature. And so my mom definitely, what she's done and how she's been there for me is definitely Mount Rushmore for me.
I wish your grandmother would have met my grandmother, because my grandma used to make me eat Vicks Vapor Rub. We used to have a coach. Literally, it says "do not consume." She used to make us eat Vicks Vapor Rub. I swear to you, bro, it was so bad.
You could have some crazy. That'd be a crazy podcast to get all the guys and like find out what their grandmamas, grandmothers gave them for remedies, because there's probably some wild remedies out there if we really wanted to go deep.
Yes, it is.
There's no doubt. Well, look, man, Jake, dude, you are a blessing for giving us your time today. We want to thank you extremely, man. Not only was I a huge fan of yours as a player, but I'm so much more of a fan of you as a man today after listening and having this conversation with you. Peanut, thanks again, man, for giving us your time, brother. Love you guys. And I want to thank all the listeners for tuning in as always. I want to ask you all again to continue to spread the word. Give us a rating, a review, and a follow on Apple Podcasts or iHeartRadio app, or wherever else you listen to your podcast. This is the NFL Players Second Acts Podcast. Peace.